Good evening, Gooners. Welcome to In the North Bank, the big Sunday show. We're back again. A slow week. I think it's the fairest thing to kind of say. We've been kind of treated to a little bit of football, the AFCON. We've had FA Cup weekend. We've had a little bit of Carabao Cup, and we're nowhere to be seen. We know why. Joined by Richard and Liam tonight, and looking to obviously discuss a few things going on to Tuesday, the trip to Nottingham Forest, and starting with, we're just going to go straight into the action for the FA Cup before we really crack into Tuesday's game. It's a massive game, but the results chucked up a few surprises. Obviously, Maidstone you were following quite closely, weren't you, Liam?
Yeah, they're only roughly around the corner for me, really, 10-15 minutes up the road. So I was obviously following that on Saturday and done a watch along with Ryan on that.
It's real good. I think they beat Stevenage, didn't they? The round before, didn't they?
Yeah, a bit disappointed with the draw today. Was hoping to get a Premier League side, but yes, like to get Sheffield Wednesday, mate. That ground still can hold for 40,000, can't it?
Yeah, still good, a bit of money. But started off with a big game, didn't it? On Friday.
What, the old Spurs versus City?
That was a bit of a drab game, to be honest. Richard, did you watch Did you manage to see?
It was always going to be. It was always going to be because City don't usually score there, do they? They don't usually. They haven't scored there at all since they've moved to the shit bowl. And Spurs.
Sam Matterface was trying to.
So
he was trying to force that narrative, weren't he?
Yeah.
And it was they haven't scored. They haven't scored for 8 years. Liam, you kind of said in the group, didn't you? It's like there's a goal kind of coming here. I just thought Tottenham offered absolutely nothing when you consider.
I turned off after 45 minutes.
If you consider how we've been, and we've had the 2 years, we've obviously gone out. We played City, and we got lambasted for going out, losing 1-0 at their ground, and we played a weakened side. Blah blah blah. I thought we showed more than what even Tottenham did. One shot on target, didn't they? Or one shot in the game.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a turn up, but Man City finally scored in that rubbish stadium that looks like a toilet bowl. It was on the cards, wasn't it? Sam Matterface trying to build it up so much, and it was just like, no. But Villa and even Forest, didn't they, on Friday? And it was a 0-0 draw against Bristol City for them. Other one was Luton Town, wasn't it? Everton in the doldrums.
Yeah, that was a choker for the old Toffees. Yeah,
disappointed, and a wicked draw for Plymouth. I've got a couple of mates who Plymouth fans, inside side. Funny enough, I didn't realise Plymouth got around that far, but obviously quite a good following. Got a replay back. Got a replay back at home, haven't they? So that's it. So they take it back down there.
They're pretty good at home as well, Plymouth, aren't they?
Yeah. So I believe so.
That'd be a good game. I think that wouldn't surprise me if that reaches penalty shootouts, that game, mate, because Leeds are not a bad season either. So I think that's going to be a good game, that replay.
Yeah. No, I think that'll be a decent one to watch if we can get it on telly. That is. Brighton was a decent one. Good away win, won at 5-2. Probably to be expected, but got to do the job, ain't you? And Newcastle beating Fulham. There was a bit of a furore about the match tickets, weren't there? The price of the tickets at Fulham, I heard, like today, I've caught the tailwind of it.
Well, one of the geezer who was giving it all out was doing that last night.
Yeah. So I thought.
Yeah. He ain't had a good week, has he? Out the old semi-finals.
It's not been good, but yeah, they hiked up the prices, didn't they? I didn't really get the full gist of it, but yeah, I saw Laura Woods put a statement out from the club like after the game. Said they were happy with the reduced attendance or something, but they were happy with the pricing. But they'd obviously chucked up a little bit. So sorry, Fulham. And then today, Newport's so close. You watch that, Richard?
Yeah, I thought they were unlucky. I mean, especially the way they came back into that game, and I think it's the Newports, the Maidstones getting into the next round and having a good go against these bigger teams are what we grew up on as kids.
Yeah.
So
we've always talked, and we've always talked about that magic of the FA Cup and whether or not it's like diluted. It doesn't mean as much as what it used to.
I think it's still there, but maybe not for the bigger clubs.
Yeah, you've got to rotate around.
I think with your Peps and your Jurgen Klopps and that the fact that it's more Premier League, Champion League now, and the FA Cup split down into that sort of third spot, hasn't it? Rather, when we were younger, it was League, FA Cup, then the Champions League. But again, that probably is down to the way it's marketed and the prize money as well.
Yeah. Liam, what were your thoughts on United today? Did you see it all? Or did you?
No, I didn't. To be honest with you, I didn't really see the game. I only put on the last 9 minutes because I was watching the women's game. But I think we know where United are at the moment, don't we? There's a lot of turmoil there. Obviously, the Marcus Rashford stuff's come out now in terms of obviously he was seen out and about in a Belfast nightclub the other day. So obviously there's issues there. I just think that the problem is with Man United, right? You sit there and you think, they just scraped through today, but they'll probably easily end up in the semi-final finals again, which they always do. A bit like Chelsea in the League Cup. I think United are in a situation at the moment which is going to take them quite a few years to get out of. And I think the new is it Jim Ratcliffe? I think he needs to make a decision whether he is going to put his eggs into Ten Hag's basket or if he wants his own boss. I think that's what is going to need to be sorted out straight away there. But I don't think it's getting any better there whatsoever. And you look at their team today, it was a very strong team. And you just sit there and think, like, it's a strong team. They're just not gelling, are they? They're just not playing well together. They've spent a lot of money on players. It's not like they haven't spent a lot of money, because they have spent a lot of money, but they're just not gelling. And I don't know if that's all to do with, obviously, what's happening at the club. But I think there's obviously issues everywhere within the club. And it's going to take an Arteta-style kind of clear out, isn't it? Like we had, because we had exactly the same thing at that point. And as we know, like he came in at the back end 2019 and we didn't get the fruits to it till at least 2023. And to be honest, if at the start of last season, no one would have said that we was going to be in a title race whatsoever. We didn't expect to be in a title race. We ended up being in a title race. And I think, obviously, that's probably going to take Man United the same amount of time, if I'm being totally honest. There's so many players that are going to have to clear out of the club. Like, even when you look at Casemiro, like, how old is he? 30, 31? Like, I just think they're spending.
Oh, no, I think it's older than that, even.
Yeah, I just think their spending's not. I think they're spending money on. Like, I heard their name was linked with Benzema, and okay, Benzema's been a great player and all that. It would just be typical. That's a typical Manchester United kind of signing, isn't it?
Look at Ronaldo. That was like a Yeah, I mean, it was a proper heads gone kind of one there where you suddenly think never go back or never do it. It's never going to be the same as what it was. There's too much ego there, and they went and done it, didn't they?
But it's ridiculous money, isn't it? I mean, you got to think he's on 100 million euros, which is about 86 million pound. You paying 6 months' wages. That's 43 million pounds before a sign-on fee. Well, if you're paying a loan fee,
where's he going to get them, Richard? By now, it's the end of the season. They're out of Europe. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe the FA Cup, but let's be honest. They paid him for Man City in the FA Cup final. Both of them teams are going to demolish United, didn't they?
Yeah. It's.
I just don't see the point of going out and spending that money on that kind of player, like for them, because there is no end goal with it. They're not going to be he's not going to take away they needs to be taken to, and I just think they're in a lot of trouble. I think they are in a lot of trouble, and I think that Newport team, they shouldn't be scoring 2 goals against Manchester United. Let's be honest.
Like, I'll be coming away from that. I'll be coming away from that when we talk about the overreaction. I think to us going out against Liverpool. I know we should have probably got the result, and another day we probably would have done, but we didn't. But we played a very good team. Still, they're still a good team. Obviously, we've seen that in the league. Same with Man City, but
it's the fact that we threw the cup game away is a rhetoric, isn't it? And that's it. I can't see how you threw it.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like
it's a title rival, so I'm not sure where you go down that road.
But I can't imagine our fan base had we just gone over there and conceded 2 goals. Like just the reaction. Yeah, we've won, but I would be like, I think everyone would be like, oh, Arteta, what's going on? It's like, well, it's what it is. It's not a great result. You can't concede those, but you've got to deal with what you've got in front of you. But yeah, if it's 4-2, 4-0, whatever, I suppose the win's the win. That's all you need. But yeah, it is. Yeah, I'd be quite disappointed and I wouldn't be embarrassed, I think, but football's football, isn't it? At the end of the day, you can see the goal from anything. So yeah, it's one of those. But yeah, I look at it, I just think, yeah, something's not right. And yeah, obviously them re-signing Evans at about 54. That's what he is now, isn't he? He's about 54 years old. Yeah.
That just you look at the centre backs, mate, and it just says it all, don't it? Like you've got Varane, who's come from Real Madrid, who is apparently one of the best centre backs in the world. He's really not performed there, in my opinion. He's probably been the best out of the lot, though. You've got Harry Maguire, that for the last 2 years has been basically pushed from pillar to post, isn't he? Literally mocked by everyone. And then, like you said, Johnny Evans comes in. He's about 35, 36. Like, should they be going down that road either? Do you know what I mean? It's just everything seems a mismatch there. Do you know what I mean? And everything's desperate. And what I think now they've got the geezer in from Manchester City, they need to sit down objectively and say, do you know what? We're going to get rid of these players, even if it means we're not going to get in the Champions League for a couple of years. We're going to bring through a young team and then start looking again, like we've done it as such. Do you know what I mean? We've done that, haven't we? And we're pretty much sitting in a situation now where if we go out and buy a striker and a centre midfielder next season, I think we're like there's no more excuses. Like we have to deliver next season, and I think that's where they need to get to. And I think that's the only way they're going to be able to buy themselves some time to get them back to where they need to get to.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. Yeah, and let's move away. There's too much Man United now. I feel like I need to go wash my hands just because it's a lot of rubbish. It's not great. Liverpool, yeah, we'd have been obviously with an easy tie against Norwich had we got through that. Yeah, comfortably beat them, didn't they? 5-2.
Yeah, you weren't expecting anything else, were you?
No.
Considering Norwich's previous form in the Premiership, they leak goals like a colander leaks water.
Yeah, no, that's it. But the big drama today being West Brom. I'm sure everyone's seen the news, the pictures all over social media. One thing I haven't mentioned is the Maidstone fan falling down the stand at Ipswich.
That's a joke. That's a joke, though, mate.
No,
What's the start of it, or what
Yeah.
going on? He's got himself to blame, but what concerns me with that situation, right, was his stupidity. What happened if there was a kid underneath there?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or an old lady? Like you don't know who sits in them seats or who's in there. What happens if that's an absolute dreadful situation?
Yeah, so absolutely horrible.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I mean I remember there was a club from where I was a fight in it, and it had a balcony, and somebody threw somebody else off, and the person underneath who was landing on ended up in a wheelchair for the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
so that's what he could have done. He could have put himself and other people in a wheelchair for the rest of their lives, and how it was allowed to get to that state. Where's security and camp stewards keeping an eye on somebody trying to climb onto the roof of a stadium?
I like you, Ian. I saw that first video of the and it shows it going across on the other stand, and you look at it, you suddenly think, that's blimey, that's just happened. Or like it's happened. How it's happened, God knows. I still don't quite work out. But you then look at that second one, and it was almost like it was almost staged.
Yeah,
and it was like a second viewing, and then funny enough, the picture is right 2 people to the side of this guy doing what he's done, and you just think of the whole drama, the panning the camera around to then suddenly seeing him go down. You suddenly think that might have been actually put up just for a little bit of a kick, and just go through, and you just suddenly think, well, that end result for that kind of.
I don't want to get my health and safety book out and be one of these, right? But you've got to ask yourself the question as well, right? So especially nowadays, right, with risk assessments and all that kind of stuff. Like, surely that's got to be notified at Portman Road that that's an area of concern, because that is an area of concern, isn't it? Like something like that was going to happen with something like that, and. As I said, I don't really care. No, I know it sounds bad. I don't care what happens to him because it's his own stupidity. But what I do care about is the innocent fans below, right? That potentially that could have fallen on. And you just think you could have took one of your kids there, mate. And if that's one of your kids, mate, that's putting them in a right shit situation.
I wouldn't think you'd probably see too much of them. I think after that, if someone's come flying down, he only has to take. Going across.
If it's a kid, it can be fatal, couldn't it? If he's
landing on the way he's going and he's dropping down, and it's like,
well, don't get me wrong, fair play to Maidstone. I get the whole why there's limbs and scenes and all that, but it just didn't seem right to me when you see that initial him going onto this. I think he's gone on there thinking that not realising there's a slope, and he started rolling, and then he's realised that he's totally out of control, and then he's just dropped.
Yeah. One thing too far. I think it's not great. I'm chuckling about it, but I'm chuckling in disbelief almost, because it's just one of those where you suddenly think we've all been there and we've all done silly things, but that is just ridiculous.
But the club are really, surely there's got to be questions around the club about that as well. Like how is that happening?
Yeah, and with Port Vale as well, wasn't there? A fan chased the referee. I'd imagine the FA would have to do something to all these clubs involved in these incidents to crack down and start making sure that it isn't a regular occurrence.
Yeah. Well, even on that situation, I've seen grown men and women. I'm going to say I've seen both grown men and women thinking how funny that situation was yesterday. Right, I kind of understand why the players did what they did, but I don't really understand it, because I think when someone's life is at jeopardy, and you don't know who that person is that's running on the pitch. You don't know what he's got. Do you know what I mean? And when he's running at a referee like that, it's totally unacceptable. And I just look, we referees,
Port Vale game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all get frustrated by referees. We all get frustrated by the PGMOL, linesmen, etc., etc. But that's not acceptable. And I can't believe that the amount of people that I see on social media thinking that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, you've only got to look at tennis, haven't you? Maria Sharapova stabbed by a
Was
fan.
it Hingis as well? Martina Hingis as well. She got stabbed,
yeah.
didn't she?
Yeah. It can happen. And these, after all, we might not like referees. We might think they're useless, but victims at the end of the day. They've got families, they've kids, wives, partners, whatever, and it's not acceptable.
No,
you might get upset and you get a decision, but
of course
you can call them names all you like, but try and go and physically hurt them, that's stepping over the line.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But let's go on to West Brom. That was, I've not seen anything for a long time like that. You hear of crowd disturbances, you hear of other things that go on, but it's born out of away fans getting tickets in the home end, and this is quite topical for Arsenal as well, because we kind of do it as well, like obviously quite a few clubs. They'll still try and do it. Funny enough, I remember I think someone had put in that they'd just gone and bought West Ham tickets, signed up as a general sale member, and bought tickets for the West Ham game away. Obviously, being an Arsenal fan, but you look at it, if you're great at sitting on your hands, then yeah, go for it. But if you can't control your emotions in the game, knowing where you are and being a little bit savvy to understand where you're sitting, then that's what is the end result at the end of the day. And if you've got someone that's, well, I don't know, I could say under the influence of drugs or whatever, who really haven't got any kind of reactionary skills. I don't know. It all just seems a bit strange and a little bit weird. But it wouldn't be like me or Liam going to Tottenham and then suddenly start dancing on our seats at 3-0. Wouldn't have happened, would it?
Well, no way. I'll be totally honest here, right? I can't sit in a home end to watch an away game. I could easily go to Crystal Palace and watch Crystal Palace Arsenal and get a ticket in the home end, but I would never ever do it. And there's two reasons why I wouldn't do it. The first reason is because I do think it is disrespectful. And the second reason, I would just feel absolutely uncomfortable with the whole situation, and I just don't see the point. Do you know what? I'd rather listen to it on radio than be in that kind of situation. And it just amazes me, yeah, right? Like, that's a big rivalry in it today. That's a massive rivalry. And I know people are desperate to get tickets. I totally get that. But if you do it, keep your mouth shut. Do you know what I mean? Keep your mouth shut. Watch the game quietly. But the problem is they can't. Do you know what I mean? And as I was saying to you before, on air, there's some people that just actually don't really give a shit, and like they'll literally just try and go people up. I was at Arsenal Leeds. Do you remember the FA Cup third round a few years ago when Nelson got the winner? And I had two Leeds fans behind me, mate, and they were so disrespectful the whole game. And to be honest, if it was someone else who was sitting in front of them, it probably would have massively kicked off. Do you know what I mean? But you kind of bite your tongue a little bit, just think, oh, they're pricks. I think they end up getting booted out in the end anyway. But I just don't get why people do it. I get anyone watch football, but I just don't get it. I remember I got offered a ticket for Birmingham Arsenal in the old League Cup final, and I got an offered ticket to Birmingham in literally about 3 or 4 days before the game. Obviously, I'm glad I didn't take it because of what happened in that game. But there was no way I was going to that game. We're sitting in a Birmingham. I'm not going to do it to myself.
Yeah, no. That funny you say about Leeds. I remember taking the wife to, well, she weren't the wife then, the Leeds game at home where we blew the league at home. Viduka scored. I think was it Viduka 3-2 or something. Last minute goal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Quite that end of the league title, didn't it?
Funny enough, I'm sitting down with her, and then next to her, Leeds fan. So as soon as I scored, he's like jumped up. I was like, oh God, don't. You know what I mean? So one of those, just didn't want to see it, didn't want to entertain it. Yeah, it's not great, whichever. But yeah, when I've a little telling image. Tell you what, though, this is how bad it was. Where you've actually got the kids of the players actually in that kind of section.
Graceful, mate.
And easily spill off, couldn't it? Into someone that who you love, just through some moment of madness. So yeah, hope obviously everyone is fine. That's Carl Bartley's family there, and you suddenly just think, well, yeah, very, very, very bad. I think, but yeah, it can't be repeated.
But you have to praise the player for making that decision and making sure his family's safe before anything else.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think we're going to have repercussions on this anyway. I think that's going to bring a whole.
Mate, I'd be booting teams out the cup for it, because I'm telling you why I'd do that. It's the only way you're going to teach these fans a lesson here, right? And yeah, it may affect thousands and thousands of other fans, yeah, right? But you know what, yeah, right? No fan would put themselves at that jeopardy if they knew it was going to kick their club out the cup, because they would have a lot of people like going for them. Do you know what I mean? And we got to do more. We like the Portsmouth, like. More's got to happen. Like you're putting the referee at jeopardy in that game. You said about obviously the Ipswich game where the geezer's gone off the balcony. Like loads of fans on there. You put them at jeopardy, and the Wolves West Brom. We've seen the pictures with the kids. But what makes me laugh, yeah, right? In that Wolves West Brom game, I see coins getting thrown, everything being thrown, yeah, right.
There's a guy with his head bleeding from somewhere in there, so being escorted off by the police, handcuffed, and people chanting, "Let him die." It's ridiculous.
No, that's disgusting, wasn't it? But
I agree. You kick the clubs out of a competition, you're fining them heavily, and or making them play behind closed doors. So there has to be.
Mate, I wouldn't have them in the cup, mate.
A way of getting out.
Yeah. And if you've lost the cup game, you're out the next season's cup. Honestly, I'd go that severe on it, because I think something needs to happen to make people realise, yeah, right, that they can't get away with this kind of stuff. And as I was saying, when you throw objects, yeah, right, at times I've seen it before. Severe to work. Yeah. You don't know where you're throwing that object towards, and yet again, that could hit a kid on the head, that could hit anyone on the head, it could hit an old lady on the head. It could be a situation, yeah, right, where that could have a long-term effect on that person, and it's just people. Let's be honest. Let's be frankly honest. It's people going to games, highly drunk or highly on something else, and just kind of losing control.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%.
I mean, we all came from an era of hooliganism. So we remember what it was like there. We can't be going back to that. We've got to get.
I don't think we will. Well, I think there's certain areas people are trying to bring back that kind of fanatic.
Things like this are allowed to slide, and
you talk about the old firms, and you talk about how that was kind of dealt with back in the 70s into the 80s, and then obviously when the band started, it all tidied itself up a little bit, and those people that probably were connected probably stopped going to the grounds because they were kind of outlawed on that side. But yeah, I think the new breed are trying to kind of rile it up a little bit. I think in certain clubs, I don't know, something that you don't want to have. Certainly, if you're talking about you bringing your family and you're bringing your children to a game, you don't want to be caught up in anything either on the streets around or whatever. Lots of stories.
Yeah, it's one of the good things about I mean, we had the Chelsea match. Family. The father was a Chelsea supporter. He was wearing his thing, and he was giving it large. Then every wife was giving him jipping it, and he was looking quite sheepish by the end of it. But it was all. It's okay because the atmosphere is totally different, and there isn't that intensity. Maybe, but doing that sort of thing, especially when you know there's such an intense rivalry, you're asking for trouble, and the clubs have to take responsibility for allowing that situation to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you can really police it even further than with that when we talk about the away ends. But yeah, I know West Ham was saying that you had to, if they basically said, so you buy a ticket, they'll send you the confirmation email and say, yeah, you bought it, but we noticed that you've never bought anything from us before. This is your first booking. Can you provide photo ID of you being a West Ham fan and your passport or your driving license to be used on?
In fact, I think it was on. Yeah, in fact, I think it was on Twitter, wasn't it? There was the Spurs fan that came earlier in the season, and he got into the our home support. He had a jacket on, but he was standing in the stairwell, flashing his Spurs.
Yeah,
before
you get in trouble by showing a cock. You know what I mean? Going to start waving that shirt around. Horrible that thing. Pigeon on a ball.
Yeah.
So let's go.
I mean, what can you do if it's bought? And there are what checks can you put in place?
I don't know. It's something to be discussed. Beyond our pay grade, anyway. On that side. BX Gunner said, it's worse in South America where Boca or River Plate supporters are falling 10 stories or better. That's mainly because I think that all the stands are crumbling. You fall through them. I think you've seen. There's been a few videos of where you suddenly see them they're bouncing. You can actually see the actual structures just literally just almost crumbling away, and they don't look great. It's something I'd like to do. It's not go to somewhere to potentially try and kill myself, but I'd like to go and experience the atmosphere over there. But yeah, you're right. It's a totally different situation over there, isn't it? Really. Yeah, we're supposed to have health and safety. Yeah, lots in the chat. It's quite good. So good evening, everyone listening on the chat. Please get any questions, anything you want to put to us. I'm sure we'll get some interesting answers.
Here he is. Here's old Stefan.
Yeah. I've got to pass on my photo ID being an Ipswich fan this week.
Up the Maidstone.
Oh, dear. Who's Alex? Oh, there you go. There's Alex. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, yeah, no, it's all good. Right, well, that's FA Cup done. That was a good segment, wasn't it? God. I didn't even mention Arsenal. So, Tuesday night, tough trip, I expect. Yeah, it's a win that we need to get. We need to back up last Saturday's win. Certainly get the result that we need. Bearing in mind Liverpool is on the horizon as well. Liam, what are your thoughts going into the game? 48 hours now, isn't it?
2 words. Really? Must win. Yeah. It's a must-win game. We have put ourselves in this situation with our form over Christmas into the new year, and it's a must-win game. we can't be going playing Liverpool without anything but winning at Nottingham Forest, and I think it's going to be a bloody tough game on Tuesday night. It's a night game under the lights. Forest will be well up for it. They just got a good result previously with Man United at home, so they'll be confident. And yeah, we've got to go there. We've got to go there and get the 3 points. So, am I confident? Not overly. The 5-0 win obviously was good, but I don't believe it was a 5-0 performance, and I don't want to be. I don't want to just assume that 5-0 win is not papered over all the cracks that we've had over the Christmas period. But if we go out and win against Nottingham Forest, I think it puts us in a really good situation going into the Liverpool game. And we need to go into that Liverpool game with a win. And if we do go into that Liverpool game with a win, I think it's going to be a bloody good game of football next Sunday.
Yeah, 100%. I look at it. I said about it previously. If we can get in a run, and I'd say we get the result on Tuesday, we follow it up with Liverpool, going into West Ham away, and I think it's Burnley away, is it after that? You're suddenly thinking, hang on a minute, if we can get max points out of all those games, you're suddenly saying, well, hang on a minute, we're back in with a shout. And where there's obviously so much talk that's going on, saying, I think there's no total, we're not going to do it. But you're then suddenly thinking, that's what, five games on the bounce, and you're suddenly thinking, well, that's when you can start talking again and suddenly start saying, right, okay, can you back it up now with another couple? And you go game by game. And again, I think at the end of the day, we can't go too far ahead, and we've got to go take it game by game and then make sure we get the result and go from there. Richard, what are your thoughts? Are you confident?
Well, it is. I mean, as previously said, it's a hugely important one. We need to win it, and hopefully you get players, start getting players back fit and available, so we can face the next month or so in better position. It will be tough. I don't see it being anything other. Our previous 2 visits have been tough games for us, so I don't see any reason why that should change. If we get an early goal, that might change the complexity of the game, but it's whether we take our chances again, isn't it? I mean, that's been our problem most of the season. It is not taking chances, and then when you don't take your chances, if you have a nervy few minutes and you concede, it makes your game not even harder. And we just have to see if the players are back on it and are back on form.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I don't think there's going to be any words needed. I think the players will solely know what they need to do. They've had the time. They've had lots of time to work on stuff, like we did before the Palace game, where we had the little break, where we could kind of work on stuff on the training ground, and maybe just wouldn't say go back to basics, but reaffirm Arteta's beliefs, the ways of playing, and kind of get those kind of patterns of play, and just kind of drum into them a bit more, and try and get that fluidity. Because obviously having the 10 days without games, it's not really heard of through the season. Obviously, with international breaks, players go off. It's a quick turnaround, isn't it, per every game? And you're suddenly thinking maybe that's a good kind of thing potentially going into this latter part of the season. We're suddenly talking this second half where we always seem to go off the boil. We're hoping that we've had our little kind of blip, and we can kind of go in with renewed energy and just really try and push on. Team wise, Liam, what changes would you go for?
I don't see Partey starting. Arteta's not the kind of guy who throws people straight back in. I think Partey might get 30 minutes at the end of the game, just getting ready for Sunday. I think he will start Sunday, mind you. So I don't see him starting. I believe that he needs to be in the team now, though, obviously, and he's basically got to deliver for us now between now and the end of the season. He owes the club that, he owes the fans that, and he owes himself that, really, to be honest. So hopefully we can keep him fit, and that will make a massive difference. I don't think there'll be much changes, mate. I think he might pretty much go with the same team again that won at Palace. If I'm being frankly on this show, like sometimes why'd you change it? Why'd you change something that's obviously not broken from the previous game?
Yeah,
we won 5-0. Maybe the only option he might do is bring Martinelli back in after the 2 goals. But yet again, he might sit there and think, do you know what? I might just keep him on the bench and keep him fresh, because with the Liverpool game Sunday, give him another 30 minutes and see if he can do the same kind of damage. So I don't think there'll be many changes, but I think if there is one, potentially Martinelli.
Yeah, that was my feeling. Richard, is that similar for you?
I'd possibly just maybe bring in Jorginho and drop Havertz to the bench and have Jorginho, Royce, but that's the only thing to just get that control and just keep passing that ball, and then as the game gets on, you bring on Martinelli for a tired defence, which might open up spaces for us. But yeah, I wouldn't expect too many changes, to be honest. Very similar to what we played against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, no, I think it picks itself at the minute. We've obviously got some players coming back, and yeah, I said if we're thinking that Partey's got to play on Sunday, he's got to play some part on Tuesday. Otherwise, it'll be too much of a risk to kind of push him on. So yeah, I think half hour, 45 minutes potentially, where it could kind of, or even like a 35, 40 minutes or whatever, something that's got a good bit of grounded. But again, it's going to be how the game goes, isn't it? At the end of the day.
And it also depends on how fit he and how he really is, to make sure that he's 100% or.
Yeah, no one knows apart from Arteta at the end of the day and the medical staff how close he is, in all honesty. But yeah, like I say, the state of the game will dictate what risk potentially you could kind of go for. If we're chasing the game, then you're probably saying it probably isn't a wise kind of choice to kind of stick him in, because if we are ragged and we're trying to look for something, then potentially what we don't want to do is cause injury or potentially anything else. But if he does play anyway and he gets injured again, you'll suddenly say, well, that's the final nail in him. I would say the key for us is to get him playing all the way through the season now, with no breakages, no issues, and then we can address it in the summer. But he needs a big 6 months, 4 months. So I think be interesting to see him, but it'll be even more interesting to see Timber when he comes back. But we're a few weeks away from that.
Well, mid-March is probably the earliest. You've got to remember he's only on the grass. He's not in training. So you're still looking a good 3-4 weeks minimum, and that's if he doesn't suffer any setbacks. If we can get him back early to mid-March, then that's a bonus. And if you've got that choice with 10 games to play, the squad's looking a little stronger than it is at the moment, isn't it? And you're looking at the City game and things like that going up to the Etihad. If you've got a fully fit squad to choose from, and we get something at the Etihad, which we haven't done in a long time.
Yeah, I think that's the barometer Liam, of the whole season, isn't it? Really, that trip to the Etihad or the Etihad. Can we go there and actually put in a performance when in all honesty, we're going to need to put in a performance? Can we go there, or even just get a draw, do something that we've not done for a long time? We've had better results at Anfield, better performances. Can we back it up at their place and potentially? Yeah, the best one I think was the FA Cup game where we played. Yeah, 1-0. It was obviously a lot better than the other ones. So yeah, don't know what do you reckon?
In all honesty,
Go on.
in all honesty, my personal opinion this season is I don't think we're going to be in a title race by April at the moment, and that's my personal opinion for a couple of reasons. But I think we've got a bloody good chance in the Champions League to do something massive this year, and I think we're going to get to a situation by March where if we do slip up, I at the moment I'm finding it hard to see us winning the next 5 games on the spin, just because West Ham and Liverpool have been a bit of a cropper for us over the last 6 to 12 months. And the Forest game is quite a tricky game as well.
Yeah.
If Man City need to win the game and we're not in a title race, I think Man City beat us.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But, and it's a big but, we need to go to Manchester City with a full strength team. And we need to go there with absolute everyone fit to stand a chance, in my opinion. Like you see last year about William Saliba, it crippled us. It will be the same if we haven't got Partey or Rice fit in centre midfield. Saliba's not fit. Do you know what I mean? The striker situation is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, you still need people like your outlets like Saka and Martinelli to be fit for that game. I think it all depends where we are at that point. We've got some hard games coming up the second half of the season when you start looking at Man City away.
It's every month, isn't it? If you look at it, every single month, and you suddenly think, we get through January. It's even like we said about December. We said, we've got a really busy, tough December, finishing up with Liverpool. Then you suddenly say we go into January, and then we've had the games we've had, and then you suddenly say, right, okay, we're going to February, and it's like, we've got a game. Then we go March, and it's like, April, Tottenham away.
Tottenham, Man City, Brighton are not easy. Do you know what I mean? Let's not forget about them. Do you know what I mean? And then you start looking at the home games, you think we haven't been at our best this year anyway. Like Newcastle at home on a Saturday night, that's not going to be easy whatsoever. I fully expect us to beat Chelsea if I'm being totally honest at home. But yet again, Chelsea, Brentford at home. Brentford, like they've done things in the past. They've gone to Man City and won. Do you know what I mean? Like every game's hard. But I look at our away games and I think the next 5 games are going to determine where we are by the Champions League. And I think at that point, we're pretty much going to know what we're going to put all our eggs in our basket in. But obviously, top 4 has to be a formality and a given. We have to go and obviously make sure we do get top 4. We need to get top 3, basically, in my opinion. We need to be finishing at least 3rd.
Yep.
Keep Partey and Rice fit, and I think we've got a good chance of doing that. I'm not really brought that we're in a title race this year. I need to see where we go, but I do think once we do our business in the summer, next year's the season where there is no excuses.
Look, I think I've been honest with what I thought about how we've been or differed this year, and I've said about the lack of having 2 of our 3 midfielders from last season that gave us our fluidity. That's often overlooked. You suddenly say you've got Havertz, you've got Rice, both trying to learn the way we play, all different to how they've been used to playing. That's going to take time. Play relationships across the team, forward and back, is going to take time. Understanding. But you look at it, if we were going into this season and we'd made the signings that we had, and we still had the Granit Xhaka still in there in that squad, I think we'd be talking with a bit more of a positive kind of confident feeling. I don't know. I'm looking at it like that. I'm still thinking potentially Partey might have been still a loss, but I just think maybe, we have missed him quite a lot. And I'll tell you what, he's absolutely ripping up trees in the Bundesliga, isn't he? Just top of the league at the minute. So
he was a big player, wasn't he, mate? He linked up that left-hand side. He was a big base, but you got to remember as well.
And he's got the height as well. He's got, and this is why I think he wanted to try and play Havertz there, because he still thought he could potentially have those same characteristics.
Yeah, nah.
No, he's not. They're not the same player. Obviously, we know that. But I think just from the height he is, to try and, I imagine he's hoping that it's not too much, and you can maybe kind of get that same kind of chemistry. But I don't. Yeah, it's obviously not worked yet, and I think it's still out on him as to where he's going to play, isn't it?
See, for me, mate, I wouldn't be adverse to playing Havertz, especially on Tuesday up top.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be adverse to it. Like Richard said, you put Jorginho midfield, and it's not a bad shout whatsoever, because we need to gain control of the game. Then, do you know what? I wouldn't be adverse to putting Havertz up top and having Jesus and Saka either side of him, or Saka and Martinelli either side of him. Havertz, I like him. I like what he does, but for me, it's a weird situation that he's only 2 games that he's been given the opportunity up front is against the 2 best teams in the country, Manchester City and Liverpool. Why don't we give him a game against Crystal Palace? Or why don't we give him a game like a smaller team to get his confidence up and maybe get him a couple of goals? And maybe that might boost him that way. But Granit Xhaka is a big, big miss. And I think it's not just what he does on the pitch. I think it's what he does off the pitch as well. His leadership. Granit Xhaka and Declan Rice have been pure shithousery in there this year. And it wouldn't have been, don't get me wrong, the way Partey progresses to play and makes things happen is second to none. And we missed that, definitely. But I think if you had Declan Rice and Xhaka in there for the majority of the season, I think we could potentially be top of the league by now. And we know with Xhaka he's reliable. We know he's not going to be injured, don't we? We know that he's going to play 45, 50, 60 games a season. It was a big loss. And I think in a lot of ways, right, it's made this was a long time coming with Xhaka because of the whole situation to start with. And I think we've only got ourselves to blame.
Yeah, he owes us nothing. He owed us nothing after that. And I think that's what kind of swung it, I think, at the end of the day. I think the love for him, and I think the stuff that everyone was showing at the end of the season, and it was just a little bit too late, wasn't it? Just on that side. But great player. Just hadn't worked out with all what happened, but we've just got to now find that balance, I think, in the end of the day. But that's going to take time. The next stage, we'll see what. You go.
I think Havertz was brought in as literally as a bench player to be able to rotate Royce and Partey and give them breaks, and for Havertz and Royce to replace the goals in that Xhaka got last season, and also being in the Champions League, given his tendency to score big goals in big games, another reason he was brought in for those moments. But
I think what we find is there's going to be a big difference to how teams set up in the Champions League to the Premier League as we see. The next 4 games then lead on to Porto, don't it? So that Burnley away and then it's straight to Porto. Look, we could get ourselves in a very good position by putting in those performances. So all down to us. We can't worry about anyone else other than ourselves. And if we can obviously get through and get a good result in that first leg, then that's set us up. And then we can go on and we can go on again. By then, we should have a match-fit Partey, a fully match-fit Partey. And we'll obviously see whether or not if he's breaking down or not, wouldn't we? By then, I imagine we're going to have a good look at him and suddenly say, well, okay, yeah, he does look fit, and then we could potentially start seeing even something from Timber. I know we're still probably about 2 or 3 weeks, probably from then, late February, but yeah,
It's what I'm saying to you, mate. I don't even care if we just see Timber in the Champions League games. You know what I mean? And maybe like rotate him in the Premier League a little bit, because we'll have Tommy back, won't we? Tommy Asu, Zinchenko.
I mean, really lucky, you'd probably see Timber for around the Porto return leg at the Emirates. I mean, if everything, if he's ahead of schedule as we're led to believe, that would probably be the earliest I'd expect to see him. But if you're doing that, you've then got Chelsea, City, Luton, Brighton, and a possible a quarter-final game against whoever in the Champions League to play.
Yeah, you wouldn't be pushing him overkill, would you?
No, but it's a time when you want to be resting Zinchenko and White and that, so with Tomiyasu back fit and playing as well, you've got that ability to be versatile.
I can imagine as well that Timber's a pretty robust player. It just looked like the way he was when he settled into the team straight away. Yeah. I think he's one of them players who can probably just ease him. I don't think he's going to need games and games and games to get himself back to kind of any kind of peak. But I think you're right. I think when you start looking at that squad of players with the fixtures that will be coming up through March into April, you start looking and you think, if you're Mikel Arteta, do you know what? I want to be going out in the Champions League with my strongest defence. So, and then you probably will look at players like Ben White, Zinchenko, Timber, Tomiyasu. Do you know what? I can rotate these 4 all the time. I can rotate them. Like some play the Premier League games, some play the obviously Champions League games. Obviously, with centre backs, it's a totally different ball game, isn't it? He's got to play Gabriel and Saliba all the time if they're fit. But I think with the fullbacks, we're in a good situation going into March, hopefully, and I'm hoping that he can kind of manage that well. And I'm hoping with Timber coming back into the team, I think it will. I don't think we'll do it this year now, but I think that as I keep going back to the Forest game at home, we was looking at a different style of play, weren't we? And I think that all kind of determined around Timber being in the team. And I think when he's got Timber and Saliba in that same team, he's got a lot of pace there, and he's got a lot of assurance. Yeah. And I think that will be the difference between having Timber at left back to Zinchenko at left back.
100%, Liv. One last little thing on Forest. Obviously, it leads into probably the transfer deadline. We're a few days away now. Liam, you're going to have a show on Thursday night, aren't you?
Yeah.
To bring a close to the anticlimax of the transfer window. Forest, they're going to be fighting for their lives, aren't they? And you think with the possible points that they're going to potentially lose, they're going to be really kind of more driven, I think, to kind of get results, just like what we've seen with Everton, and that kind of little renaissance a little bit once they got hit with the fine, didn't they? And the points deduction. There was some they whacked in a couple of decent results. You just wonder whether or not, it's not been said, but I don't know what your take on it is. When we're talking about this the financial fair play and the profitability kind of things, and you look at it and you think they sold the player. Who was it? It was the one like Tottenham signed, wasn't it? Was it Johnson?
Yeah.
It was like So they were going to sell him, but Tottenham come in later in the window for about 17 million more, and that's the reason why they've been charged, because they went over in that little period between. Not the fact that they'd signed about 54 players in one transfer window. So in one hand they're doing things the right way, probably in what the league and the authorities want clubs to be like, by getting more money or earning more money for them to be able to use. And then on the other hand, they've fallen flat on it, haven't they? What's your thoughts, Richard?
Well, I mean, on our side, I know the last 3 seasons we've lost 199 million. The first season was 125. That included COVID. Then this is across the whole club. Then 45, and the last one was about 26 million. And in that, we took off infrastructure, academy, and the women's. But the club didn't know what the Premier League were going to come back and say. No, what if they were going to agree with what they put forward or not, and that's why we've hung tight. And it's still we are still close to that wind, but is it worth spending on a short-term solution now? Do we put that money by and then go big in the summer? As a fan, I'd like to see us get somebody in, but not at the expense of the long-term plan.
Yeah, I look at this, Liam. This has been one of the buzz things with Arsenal, isn't it? The talk of the striker, we're talking about Ivan Toney, but we could chuck all the money in our basket on Ivan Toney, but it's a big gamble, isn't it, for a player that's been out for a fair while? Yeah, he's obviously done his training and stuff away from football, keeping fit, but that match sharpness and fitness potentially lose over that kind of period. It's a bit of a gamble. No pun intended for Ivan Toney, obviously. He's not into gambling anymore.
I'll take Ivan Toney all day long. My personal opinion. I just think there's something about him there that he's got the arrogance, but he's got the confidence with it. But, and there's a big but on this. Where you see the transfer window at the moment, there's 2 ways of looking at it. There's the way that I'd love us to do the extra push and give us a great opportunity in both the Premier League and Champions League this year, especially with Liverpool being out of the Champions League this year. I think it's even better opportunity than ever before. But at the same time, if it means that it stops us from getting our first choice realistic target in the summer, and I don't know what it is, then how frustrating it is. I think that we do have to kind of go for the rest of the season with the way it is. And I'm not 100% sure still that the striker situation's the whole problem with us at the moment. I think it's the midfield, like we've said. I think the fluidity in that midfield is nowhere near the level it has been over the last season. The Crystal Palace game, you was there, I was there, mate. It was slow. It was so slow at times, mate. And they were just going sideways, backways. Do you know what I mean? As I said, it was never a 5-0 win, that game. Palace made that 5-0 win in their own doing. But I think that if we're going to go out and buy anyone in this window, I think potentially we might need to go and get another midfielder. I think that's probably the area that I'll sit there and think, do you know what? If Partey or Rice do get injured, then we're back to the situation we're at now. And I think we just got to be realistic. It's not working. The midfield is not working. And it's the reason why we're not as good this year. Like, we had the same attackers last year. We're not getting the ball to the wingers at times quick enough.
No, or even potentially switching it. I think that's another one.
Yeah.
I look at it, I think that when you talk about Martinelli and whether or not he's been the same this year, I still look at it with like Trossard at the last weekend, and you suddenly think the times where he could have been put through or passed to early, then we kind of maybe take another touch and then suddenly just turn away and then go the other way. And you suddenly just think, well, he's there on the sideline, just literally like, hey, I'm here. It's a little bit strange. I say, just I don't know. It's a little bit. It's hard to explain. Yeah, just unbalanced. I just think, just in general, I think, and that's where I think anyone's got to just we've just got to start playing with each other and just. That sounds weird.
And the whole reason with that, I'm happy we won the game 5-0, but I just don't want us thinking that we won 5-0 and everything's hunky-dory again and everything's good in life. Do you know what I mean? Because that weren't a 5-0, mate. Like, for me, if we'd won that game 1 or 2-0, I'd have said to you, do you know what? That was a 1 or 2-0 game. The game was, mate, it was boring. The game was boring. It was, as I said, Palace made that game 5-0 in their own defending set pieces and what they did in the final minutes, which... Pardon?
Richard, God.
This from Stefan. I think it's now going to be harder to catch City for other teams. City have their squad and they can go out and add and drop players as they like. And now the other clubs are going to struggle to catch up. I mean, within profit and sustainability rules, there is a thing that owners can put 100 million of their own money in investment into the clubs. So it's whether owners want to do that and how much of that money they want to put in. But and there is an argument that the amount of profit sustainability allowed owners to put in should be raised. When it was initially produced, you've had VAT and prices are going up. So is it realistic to keep that at the same level now? But it's a tough one. I think clubs have to be more sustainable. You don't want clubs being bankrupt and being and going out of business and ending up in non-league places. But it does protect the big clubs as well. It makes it harder for small clubs to catch up and close that gap.
I've said before, I think the time that we should have obviously done it was when we were, well, funny enough, the Invincible season. Coming off that season where we needed that kind of little push. We needed the board to be a little bit brassy, a little bit with what we're trying to do and achieve. And unfortunately, they lost the mojo. They lost everything, really, didn't they? And all they wanted to do was quickly jump in and get rid and sell up. And yeah, we're left with not David Dean's kind of creation, what he wanted to do for us. He'd have been looking at us to be moved over towards, I think, King's Cross, a nice little area around there, with more to a stadium and a bigger attendance as well. What was that? I think it was 90,000. I think he was looking at the other location to Ashburton Grove, I think. But yeah, obviously being shunned off the board and done that way, we obviously got dealt with the latter. So yeah, now you look at it, we can't really do a lot now, but it's one of those. He's got the money. He could find a way to kind of push something in. And there's ways to actually doing it legitimately than doing what City have done previously down the line with all their kind of naming rights and stuff. But yeah, I think most of it's too late. The damage has been done anyway by City having a massive squad the way they've got, and we're still 6, 8, 9 decent players away from the levels of what the Man City squad is. I personally think anyway, just from there's no drop off.
Well, let's be honest. The only player, the only two players that they really miss are De Bruyne and Rodri, isn't it?
Well, look, funny enough, two midfielders. And you suddenly look at that and you suddenly think about how we've been, and we've missed two midfielders from last season, and you suddenly think, well, yeah, they don't purr as well as what they normally do. but we have not heard as what we've been used to this last year.
Yeah, talking about City, did you see the two leaked emails regarding Diaz, the young kid? We'll bring his parents over, get them jobs outside of the club, and we'll get around having him as an academy, and we'll sign him when he turns the legal age.
I think they're all kind of like it, but
yeah,
I think they are. Yeah, I think there's laws about it. There's laws about doing that.
Yeah, there are laws, but this email says getting round these laws. We've done it before.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
So it's what validity that leaked email is, and and
add that to 115.
Yes, it should be looked at on top of that, shouldn't it? But whether it will or not is questionable.
No, of course, mate. Stefan says, Tony might be extremely ring rusty. Look, if you're going to pay £100 million, there's got to be some guarantee, isn't there? At the end of the day, certainly if you're buying someone for that price to make a difference, then it's got to be a dead cert almost, isn't it? At the end of the day, he's going to come in, he's going to bang in, not saying that he wouldn't, but there is that big potential that he isn't as explosive as what he was. We won't know that, but I wouldn't have expected us to pay 100 million anyway.
I mean, there's three out there that you probably really want. It'd be Tony, Watkins, or Ozyman, wouldn't it? And any of those three in the summer, you wouldn't be unhappy with coming in the summer. Totally unrealistic, that sort of money, because no one's spending that sort of money.
Yeah. Sorry,
I don't see Villa, Brentford, or Napoli sort of letting.
No one wants to part with their players.
Not in January.
No, Liam. I've never seen anyone wound up over a 5.
I was happy with 1-5 now. I was happy with 1-5 now. Just don't want to go overkill with it.
No, I know exactly. Yeah.
It's you've got to have the same energy as when it's lost. Well, and lost, but we scored lots of goals, but the performance wasn't the best performance we've had this season. So
we probably played better against Liverpool, being totally honest, haven't we?
We've had those games where we suddenly say you're doing everything right, but then even look at that West Ham game, you're doing what?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was a good performance in the way that we got into the areas that we needed to get into. The trouble is we couldn't score for Toffee, and it was you know what I mean. Every single time we'd get into that kind of opportunity to play, we either had a bad touch, and we didn't get the shots away that we should have done. But to have 30 odd shots to then score obviously nothing is kicking the balls. But for them to then go and score from, what was it? It was the Bowen little flicking, wasn't it? First up was the first goal, wasn't it? The one that was on the line, and then the header. It's one of those just it weren't. Yeah, it's one of those we've seen games like that where they just we can't score and we end up drawing games. I'll take it.
A bit like Ipswich and Maidstone yesterday.
Yeah, a bit like that. Just without the fan drama. DWTT, thanks for coming in with us, mate. Hope you're well. Tony would be an easy choice if we had Partey and Timber available all season. If Havertz, Vieira worked in midfield, if attackers were clicking, but we need a cheat code. If. It's just a balance, isn't it? At the end of the day, we just need to get it all playing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't account for Saka, Odegaard, Jesus, and all your attacking players not firing at the same time. You normally, if one's not firing, the other, like last season, when one wasn't firing, the others were, and that's down to Arteta and the coaching staff to figure out why that's changed, why they're not all, why they're all off form at the same time. But it might not be a one simple solution to it. It may be more complex than getting having Party fit and Timber fit, but we won't know.
No, we don't know, but we'll go on. Georgina in the house. Good evening, lads. Up the Argyle. Oh dear. Yeah. Stefan says, yes, City might be in League 2 at this rate. I don't think they'll have the balls to relegate them, to be honest. Liam, it's going to be I'll tell you what, it's going to be an unbelievable decision if that happens.
It's going to take at least 2 years anyway, because if they're found guilty and they're charged, City will appeal. So you've got at least two to 3 years of it before it's fully resolved. I don't think, no matter what punishment the league dish out, if they were to be found guilty, the City won't appeal it.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Liam?
What's that?
These charges.
I'm more to the point that apparently there's a big old leak going through that Arteta's leaving. And it's all broke up on here. What are people going on about?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. What's
that's Bill Shacks.
I've totally kind of like.
No, I'm lost. Yeah, no, I don't know.
That is Bill. To be fair, that is Bill Shack. So Bill Shack. So I won't be aligning yourself with anything.
Yeah, come on. It's tuned in for Arsenal. Palace, come on. Where's your Palace TV?
But anyway,
good evening. Welcome, Bill.
Bill Shack's at the wheel.
Is he our breaking? Is he going to be our transfer deadline?
Mikel Arteta has informed his entry that he is leaving Arsenal at the end of the season, as reported by at Sport.
At Sport.
Bill Shack.
Is that supposed to be BT Sport? Yeah.
To be fair, what he's saying is basically what I'm reading from somewhere else that has said that.
Yeah.
So it's not Bill Shack's trying to put the wind up, but it's basically.
Okay, hold on a second.
I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, it's based in Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is an interesting one, but we won't know.
That's because Xavi said he's leaving at the end of the season, isn't it? So it's one that reporters going to make those links quite easily. I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta did end up. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta did end up at Barcelona at some point, but I don't see it being any time soon.
Yeah, I'll be quite surprised. I'll be quite surprised, to be honest with you. Like, he's obviously took the team to this kind of level. For him to walk away from it now, to go and take that Barcelona job on now, right this moment.
Well, that's a big job as well, though. You're saying
that's what I mean. He'd have to start all again, wouldn't he? He would have to start all again, and I just find it surprising. I find it very surprising that he leaves right now. I don't see it personally. And yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I thought about it. I'll be honest, I thought about it last night when I heard Xavi was leaving. His name was mentioned. I just thought, is it the right time for him to be going to Barcelona right now? Like, next year he should get the striker that he wants. And he seems to be fully invested into the project. There's so much young talent at Arsenal, isn't there? It's a big risk. It's a big risk for him. And who says that he goes to Barcelona that he ain't going to fall on the wayside like Xavi has?
And to be honest, Xavi, it's only this season Xavi's had a bad season. He won the league by 10 points last season.
Yeah.
He's 10 points behind the leaders this season.
Them jobs exhaust them, don't they? We hear it. We heard it from Pep Guardiola, don't we? They're like Real Madrid and Barcelona. They exhaust them after about 2-3 years, don't they? They say it's just too demanding.
Even Klopp has said he's tired and he can't keep it up. So I
know Bill Shaxter said about De Zerbi there. I was saying earlier on, you're like, I could have seen Liverpool going for him as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of clubs that would like that sort of manager. He's not done. He's improved Brighton, which was a pretty hard task to do, wasn't it? Considering where Potter had them.
I like De Zerbi. Like, if it take for any reason that Arteta did go, he'd be definitely a name that I'll be looking at to come in. Absolutely,
for the way he's got playing. For the way he's got playing, it's quite and even organised. I think organisation wise, I think they've been pretty decent. And so with limited kind of funds, obviously a lot of the scouting obviously plays a big part. Obviously they're picking up some real good players, aren't they, as well?
Yeah. It could be too big a carrot to turn down. I was just seeing what Stefan's put there. It could be too big a carrot to turn down. To be fair, family might want to go back to Spain. You don't know, do you?
We don't know. No, we don't know. The way I see it, I don't know.
I'd be more.
There's a lot of talk about the contract.
I'll be surprised. I'll be very surprised.
I mean, unless it's from a source that is what you'd call reliable, like your Romanos, your Ornsteins, and your English journalists. But
sorry, I thought you were talking about HP or Heinz. The sources. Which one do you prefer? Is it not that one? No, wrong conversation.
Really not.
Well, anyway, while we're here,
sports are a little bit dodgy sometimes.
While we're here, HP or Heinz?
I like my HP.
HP. It's got to be brown or red, yeah. Well, brown or tomato.
The brown.
What is it?
The fruity all daddies.
Come on.
I've got to go brown sauce, mate.
Brown sauce, brown all over. Oh,
brown sauce, mate.
Great day.
I had a bacon sandwich this morning with brown sauce.
Yeah, sorry lads, we've waffled now. It's all right. It's all these sauces. Oh Jesus! Yes, we know, Bill.
Oh, Bill Shax has got his old stir. He's got his wooden spoon out, isn't he?
Yeah, he's cap in hand. Just come get in a conversation with us now. Yeah, Barcelona. Look, they are bigger, but like I say though, I'm not sure what the finances are like still in the Spanish league.
They're still in trouble. They're still struggling.
I still think if you've got to rebuild and you've got to still go in and get a load of players, you've probably got a good few players in the youth. But if you're going to go in and you're going to say, right, okay, I need X players, then I think you're going to struggle, aren't you? I think no matter what, I still think they're going to have a job to provide the funds. But yeah, Barcelona. Look, if it happens, then what can you say? You could say, well, fair play to you. 2 jobs. Your first 2 jobs. You got Arsenal and you go Barcelona. Something. Well done. you played the game. You played the system. Whatever, whichever way you look at it.
It's come from a Catalan source at the moment. So, do you know what I mean?
We know all about that though, don't we? Every year it used to be either Catalan or then the Madrid kind of side, and it used to be like in tandem. One season it'll be Barcelona, one season it'll be Madrid, and it'll be constantly trying to tap up the players. And it started, funny enough, with Jose Antonio, didn't it? Well, didn't start there, but this is our next kind of segment.
I'm not having it, mate. I'm still not having it. I'm sorry.
I'm not. But Jose was tapped up, wasn't he? And we lost him. And we ended up putting him on loan. And then who did we get in return to make that deal happen? It's on the spot now. Come on, who did we get? Who did we get from Barcelona? Oh, sorry, from Real Madrid.
When was that? Who was that?
Jose Antonio.
Weren't Julio Baptista, was it?
It was Julio Baptista, yeah. The beast.
The beast. He weren't so much of a beast for us, though, was he?
No, he's very beastless, I think.
That game at Anfield in the League Cup.
Anfield. Yeah. So we're gonna talk a little bit now about Jose Antonio, really. 20 years since we signed him in January today. And to think, he obviously he died June the 1st in 2019, 35 years old, nothing. But what a great player. I have great memories of him starting. His first goals he scored, Chelsea in the FA Cup, weren't it? In February. I remember taking the wife, the missus, and then away, and I told her we're not going out of the room until I watch Arsenal. And I remember just putting on the telly in the room, just bang, watched it, and then that goal, the screamer, straight into the top corner, like an arrow. And one of my best memories, just seeing him as a player, and how joyous he was. I think he was always playing with a smile, didn't he? He always played until Gary Neville got hold of him a few times. But what a player. Liam, what are your thoughts on him as a player, and what potentially he could have been had he stayed?
Yeah, he's one of my big regrets, if I'm being totally honest. Like I think I said to you off air, to you and Richard before the show, got two big regrets: him and Nicolas Anelka. Now, obviously, Nicolas Anelka was just an unbelievable striker and was not ready to go Real Madrid at the time, and it could have been on the level where Thierry Henry was, in my opinion. But the difference with Jose Antonio Reyes is, for me, is when we brought him, we should have won the Champions League that year, right? We really, really, in my opinion, even though we got to the final in 2006, and obviously the whole Jens Lehmann thing, and obviously we lost it late on. In my opinion, the best equipped team to go and win that Champions League was that year, in 2004. And for a horrible situation that we got stuck in between the 80th and 90th minute, not knowing whether to defend or attack, basically cost us that Champions League. I honestly believe if we'd seen that through to extra time against Chelsea, we'd have knocked them out, and Jose Mourinho would have never won his first Champions League that year. We would have won it, in my opinion. Like, you look at the teams that were left, we was far superior. And he come in and he scored in that Chelsea game, and he come in and, like you said, he scored in those two goals in that Chelsea game in the FA Cup. He scored in the Champions League against them, and he settled in really, really well. And then, obviously, we had the racism piece with the Spanish manager, with him and around Thierry Henry, which was obviously not a great situation for himself to be put in, and I don't think that helped him whatsoever. But he should have been able to replace Thierry Henry. He really, really should. I'm not saying he would have replaced him as such, like all the goals and everything he did, but he was that good. He was that good that he could have, by 2008, took on that mantle. If we'd have kept him there, and unfortunately he went back to Real Madrid, didn't he? And I'm sure that he scored the winning goals, didn't he, to win him the league title? Because when I was watching that David Beckham documentary on Netflix, when they won the league on that year, he scored the winning goals there, and it just shows you like what a player. And he was a player for the big occasion, and he did turn up for us, and he'd done some unbelievable stuff. And obviously gutting what happened to him, obviously in terms of obviously his death and all that, but. Great player, and he's one of my two big regrets, because I think he could have gone on to achieve unbelievable stuff at Arsenal. And I honestly think him leaving, if he didn't leave in 2008, I think we'd have had a better chance of winning that league title.
Well, look, we had some really good performances, didn't we? But it was every time we played Man United, wasn't it? And it literally kicked up in the air so many times.
He was rapid. It's
unbelievable. But you look at 2003, 2004, 21 appearances, 5 goals, 1 assist. 405, 45 appearances, 12 goals, 15 assists. So he was creating lots of goals. As well as getting a few. And then, 5 or 6, 44, 6 goals and another 11 assists. And I say that's where it tailed off. And then it got to a point in the summer where, he just said that he wanted to go home and get back to Spain.
You had to feel sorry quickly. You had to feel sorry for all the kind of Arsenal players in that era because we was targeted and he was targeted. Like you said, the Nevilles targeted him. Like, it was disgraceful what they did to him. Like, if that went on a football pitch, you'd be arrested for it. Yeah. It was absolutely disgraceful. And that didn't just happen in that game with just that player. Like, we see it, didn't we, with Eduardo? We see it with Abu Dhabi. We see it with Aaron Ramsey. In that era, Arsenal were targeted like they were no other team was targeted, and he was the start of that. And
it was every time, wasn't it? It was any kind of player that was decent or any kind of like quality about him, it'd be clobbered, taken out. But it was the first kind of form of like tactical fouling, weren't it? Really, I think in the end of the day they were taking it in turns, weren't it? Like coming in, sliding in. But Richard, it was rapid. I just thought he played the game. He just played the game with the way it should be. Happy, was smiling.
And I think I look at it and say, did the club do enough to get him settled and make him feel like he was home, so he didn't feel homesick? Because he was, and what would have a club looked like with him in that front three? If you had kept Anelka as well, I mean, but and some of the other players that came through afterwards. But I think you can look at lots of players through our history that we let go too soon or not signed.
Oh, I think I've got another one
because we've been too slow.
Caleb was another one, wasn't it?
He was a talent, and I don't think there was many from that you could say about. He had a beautiful foot on him, didn't he? Not many of those goals you won't remember from him. They were pretty similar to Bergkamp. All Bergkamp's goals were you remember almost every single one because there was something special with the actual pitch itself. And yes, you've got to feel for his family because no parent should have to bury a child before and the family he left behind as well. It's never easy, is it?
It's weren't nice when it happened, but at least we've had a nice kind of time actually celebrating his life. I think we've had a couple of games with Sevilla, haven't we? Where we've kind of got together and remembered him as a player. So, I just thought it was touching just to kind of do the show. 20 years on from when we signed him. So, nice little touch there on him. R.I.P. And I hope he's still playing somewhere up there on those clouds. Anything else? Stefan just said, replacing Thierry would be a tough gig, and it would have been, but it'd have been close to. And I still think Anelka would have been. I'll tell you what. Imagine having that front line, Thierry Henry and Nicolas Anelka.
Well, there wouldn't be no Sylvain Wiltord, would there? it would have been Nicholas Nelson and Thierry Henry.
Be amazing, wouldn't it?
He
Imagine
wasn't
the
a
pace.
player either, though. Wiltord, was he really, to be fair?
No. To come in and just do what he done and the goals he scored. You could rely on him, couldn't you? Rely on him, just bring him on. If he's on substitute, you'd think he'd go and get a goal, wouldn't you?
I was just having a little think here, right? Obviously, just back to the Arteta situation quickly.
I
was just thinking that another reason why I don't really see it is I think obviously that ball stuck with him, and Josh Kroenke was quite key to that. Instead of terms of sticking with him in that bad period between 2020 to 2022, I'd say, and that alone, I don't think he would walk at this situation. I think but I do think if you think about it, it would be a little bit of a scumbag move to do it after we put all our faith in him.
Yeah. No, I think it's just I don't know if it's come out like that, then I think whether or not it's
Barcelona.
It's a bit ingenious to suddenly say it's a ploy because there's obviously the most talk's been about him getting a contract extension.
Yeah.
And there's been more smoke and about that going on. Then for that to suddenly come out and suddenly say, right, okay, well, that's a total opposite. Is that just a potential scheming agent? I don't know, or someone connected, just playing around.
It's Barcelona being Barcelona. We've been there so many times, like with Cesc Fabregas, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd say every year.
Don't trust them.
No.
They'll be putting a shirt on him next, won't they? They'll pull Pepe Reina out.
Yeah. No, hopefully not. No. To think Arsenal had Bergkamp and Henry is amazing. How much would they be worth now?
Thierry Henry would be worth at least 200 million, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think you'd have to say that about Bergkamp as well, because I mean,
24-year-old Bergkamp now, or 25-year-old Bergkamp.
Yeah, you'd be easily rising into towards that 200 million figure. He was just a phenomenal, and what I liked about him was he was a little bit nasty as well. He had a nice little bit of bite about him. The
only issue I've got, mate, is that he can't spell Bergkamp's name right. Where's the G?
Yeah, I know. Stefan,
come on, Stefan, mate.
Maybe he's got a key missing.
You can't call the great man's name out and get his name, get the spelling.
Oh no, he hasn't got a key missing because he's got Virginia amazing. Maybe it was just sticky.
He was
he had a sticky G.
I can't for me, he's my favourite player of all time as well. And I'd run out of words to say about that guy. Like he come in and he just changed the whole complexion, didn't he?
I know I'm proud to kind of say, and I could go and speak to all my family and just say, when you're talking about Arsenal and you're following those things on and you're putting all those kind of little bits of information into your kids. Yeah, I was just pleased and glad to have seen Bergkamp Henry play in the flesh.
Yeah.
So yeah, you look at it and you just think those generation, and we still talk about generational talent now, and they're few and far between. But those two again, Bergkamp just unbelievable, and Henry just.
You think, right, in the space of 3 years, right? Just think this, in the space of 3 years, this is what we had at our club. A Bergkamp, a Wright, an Elka, a Henry, a Wiltord, a Carno. Yeah. We had all them strikers in our club. We even had a Davil Suker at one point in them 3 years, in that 3 years spell. Like, just world-class strikers all over, aren't they? All of them.
No, very good. Yeah. Just I'm gutted that Anelka when he did, and that was down to money and his the leadership that was given in his direction, because that weren't a move that he should have done. And I'm not sure has he actually ever come out and actually said I made an absolute monstrosity of my career. Has he ever said that? I imagine he probably hasn't. End up at Bolton and then suddenly all over, and it's just yeah, biggest fit. I think he would have broke records had he had stayed at Arsenal. I think we'd have been talking about him being the leading scorer for us.
Like I remember the England-France game. He basically run that game, didn't he? They beat us 2-0 at Wembley.
Yeah.
And at that point, right, he was seen as like the biggest thing, weren't they? Like they weren't talking about Thierry Henry at the time. They were talking about Nicholas Anelka. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how good he could have been. And if he had stayed under Wenger for that, just for that period, innit, that we did go through.
He left.
He scored 30
did he go? He went in 2000, did he, or did he go in 99?
99, 2000? Yeah, I think it was just going into 2000.
So you think from that 98 season, did he have that next year, or did he go up? He must have had the next year, didn't he? He must have played the next year after 98.
He weren't at the club at all at Wells. Thierry Henry was there, was he? So
no,
he went and Henry come in for
Henry come in, yeah.
Well,
so
we didn't do bad out of the deal, did we?
No. We sold him as something for 23 million quid, didn't we?
It was sad. Like I've just seen Stefan put it up, but it was sad how like kind of how that stadium kind of cost us the next level, didn't it? Really, because like you said, like we'd had that push after finishing that season as Invincibles. Anyone would have come to us at that point, wouldn't they? Anyone would have come to us.
The way I look at it is that you can hide behind, I've got only a fraction of the club that I own. I'm not going to pump any money in. To having full control, I'd much, as a businessman, when you suddenly say, okay, well, what's going to cost me more money? Keeping me at the top whilst we were invincible, and you may have still been just chucking in a bit of money. You know full well that you're going to be owning the full club at some point. So you're then suddenly saying, right, okay, well, surely if I can put in a little bit of money to keep us where we need to go at the time when I could still do it with financial fair play not really being there, to then letting the stock die down and seeing how far we've dropped in the 15, 16 years, to then be building ourselves up over the last 2 years. And you're suddenly thinking we've gone right down and we pulled up. Yeah, all right, you might have got a great share price, but you think the amount of money now to then reinvest to make you back to where we were, I think they've done a silly one. I can't see the common sense in it. It surely would have cost them less to have kept us on an even keel. But that's what I said. Spineless, weak, and wanted to jump at the first push, and that was it. Got rid of the one man that would have probably driven investment, and that was David Dean.
Well, the day he went, we knew, didn't we? It was the worst day, one of the worst days when I come home that day, and obviously it was all up that he was leaving. Yeah,
no, it's horrible. I met him a few games ago, actually, outside the stadium.
He's always out there, mate.
Yeah, so I went out over to him, just shook his hand, and just said, "Hey, how was he? We look well." But yeah, always Arsenal. Love him.
I read his book over Christmas. That a really good book. So
yeah, it's one to get. I think I've missed that one. Sparksy just in there just said, yeah, Wiltor didn't get the recognition he deserved. Yeah, 100%. Stefan, Canoe was only 63 at the time as well. Yeah, no, he was 60, 67 and a half at the time. His little dodgy passport. We signed him as a 23-year-old, didn't we? Free triple heart bypasses or something, was it? 2 or 3 operations.
There's a few.
There's no way it was 23. No way it was 23. But didn't he know what to do with his feet? Well, no, he didn't know what to do. They done something he didn't know. We didn't know what he was going to do, and probably he didn't. And then all of a sudden, you just see a worldie come out. Chelsea away. Really good. Demise of Arsenal was sad. I think Arsenal stayed for a little bit too long. I just think, again, he had too much control, didn't he? He was doing too much without the assistance. David Dean going, that made it harder, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shit show in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Last couple here. There was a period of time Arsenal were the most consistent qualifiers in the Champions League. Yeah, Dean going was a huge factor. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, Silent Stan came in without putting a penny. Yeah, it is one of those WTF moments, isn't it? So, what have you done? It's like, well, yeah, you could say you've done all of it, but then he still hasn't invested in anything. All he's done is renegotiated the loans. So instead of us paying the loans and the interest to the banks, we now pay KSE on a, I don't know, 1% or a 0%. I don't know.
And he's also purchased the Emirates, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And they've just extended the overdraft. Clever financial manoeuvring, but it's not actually using your own money to invest. No,
that's it. So he restructured it all, so it's saved us a little bit of money on the interest, and then that was it. And after that, it's just nothing. There's no further investment. All the money that we've spent is all from what we've generated. So no investment, nothing. So you look at it like that. Yeah, too late or too little, too late. I suppose. At the end of the day, you could say 15 years of nothing to then suddenly doing it after the last 2-3 years. But just not enough. That's why I don't give him any leeway with it. Where you suddenly say, "Oh yeah, well at least they're pumping in money now," and it's like, well, nah,
it's
too late.
Where?
It's too late. It's too late.
And he's been
around the club for about 2008, 2009, was he? When did Dean go? Was it 2009?
9, 10?
Yeah, so he's been there at least 14. I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe it was 2007. I don't know. It was 2007, 2008. But 100 million a year, or even I even said even 35 to 45, 50 million a year. At that point, that could have made a contract signing. It could have stopped us selling Thierry Henry. Could have stopped them. All those players that questioned where we were going as a club, the ambition. Yeah, mental. All this hiding behind who owns full control, who has full control, for nothing. I don't get it. There's no way he was going to sell his stake. He was only going to increase it. So why would he let it go so bad?
Or maybe he was just that blind or naive, or in thinking that Wenger was that good that he could keep them where they were no matter what.
Look, Wenger was magic, but he ain't a magician, is he? You know what I mean? He had some good moments, and to keep doing it. And you can still say the same with Klopp. When you look at Klopp like last season, you're suddenly saying, well, if he had a kind of like a situation like last season, then it would have been bad, wouldn't it? Liverpool would absolutely die last season, and he could have got the chop potentially. Then it's only probably his record what he had previously that kept him in. But look how he's come back this year. But we had a chance to kick on from Invincibles being in the Champions League final. Unlucky to win it, and we didn't. We kind of just went and nosedive down. But look, lads, this has been a great little show to finish the weekend. The activity in the chat room has been brilliant. It's great to see some new faces. Please subscribe to the channel. Liam obviously got a show on Thursday as we probably say no business has been done. So he'll be in the hot seat. So yeah, no, thank you for getting in touch and interacting, and yeah, being part of the show. It's been really good. Yeah, get subscribing, and yeah, join us next week for another. Well, no, I still need to sort that one out. I need another host, because me and Liam are going to be engaged in some other place, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully with 3 points.
Yeah, so we'll be yeah, we're gonna have to get a host for next week. So yeah, leave it with us. But yeah, same time next week, someone will be here doing a show. So yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, have a good week, and come on, you Arsenal. 2 seconds. Yeah. Oh, we didn't get a score prediction either, did we? Tuesday. Score predictions. Come on, quick.
Score prediction Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. There you
go. 2-1. Oh, it's so boring. Can't even get you lads to even say.
That's me being optimistic.
Yeah. Cheers, lads. Thank you, everyone. See you later.
Have you?
Bye-bye.
See you later.